Welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday show. I'm Lucy McMonagle. I am the host, and I am on a movement to create this world a better place. If you are listening to this, please make sure that you share this episode with your friends, your family, and your tribe, because together as a collaborative, we can all do our part to create conscious wealth, create conscious communities, and to make this world a better place. Stay tuned for our next featured guest. Welcome to another edition of the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle. I'm so excited. Today we have Catherine Cooley, and she is a communications coach. She's a mediator, and she helps work in environments of extreme conflict, including in prisons, the court systems, local communities. Teaching, she helps resolve conflicts, and more importantly, she helps individuals resolve conflicts with their loved ones, with their family members, and she specializes in helping people to start cultivating and foster a clear, respectful, warm, and cooperative relationships in their home and in their workplace. Catherine, welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show.
Thank you, Lucy. I really appreciate being here. And just when you said the word wealthy, it's been such a great realization for me that wonderful relationships are the wealth that we're all so longing for. And especially during the holiday time, right? It's like we gather with our loved ones. Many people just gathered with some of their loved ones on Thanksgiving, maybe moving into the holidays. It's really the wealth of our lives. And one of the things I like to share with my tribe and remind them of is was a wonderful Harvard study, the longest and most thorough study of people's well-being and health, and the surprising result to them. It was kind of a famous study because John F. Kennedy was a sophomore at the time, and he was included in that study. And they studied their families and everybody. It was very in-depth. And the surprising result was that the core of our well-being is around our relationships.
Yes, that is so true. And so many individuals who have frustration in their life, who have depression even, and they get the holiday blues, is because a lot of times they don't have the proper means for communication, and they don't have the proper skills to resolve conflict. So can you tell us a little bit what causes the conflict between people?
Yeah, thank you. I love that question. I wanted to back up a little bit just to say that one of the core tools that I use is called nonviolent communication. I have my own way of training that and using it. I call mine empathic communication. It was discovered by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. Not discovered, he put it together from a lot of things, and from a very, as a clinical psychologist, him not being satisfied with what he could do with his client's life in terms of what's all this conflict and how do they, why is it that some people have more than others, and how is it that I can really help them? And he wasn't satisfied with kind of the pathology approach of psychology. He didn't feel like he had the right tools to really make a difference in their lives yet. So he went on this inquiry. How is it that we can live and stay happily connected with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, what better holiday theme than happily connected with each other, right?
Yes.
So, but what he discovered was underlying every single human conflict, every conflict I've ever had, has been unmet needs.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we're in conflict about. And these are core needs. These are core universal human needs, like that any human being on the planet would have, regardless of gender, age, culture, location. So there's some basic core needs that all of us have. For example, security and physical well-being, energy, rest, movement, those kind of things. Also, we're social beings, right? We're social animals.
Yes.
We need a deep sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is about having attention and nurturing and support, kindness, love. Like we need that. We don't thrive if we don't have it. And we also are beings that need choice and autonomy. It's a core part of who we are in terms of full self-expression and fulfillment. And then we need meaning and purpose in our lives. So these are just examples of these core needs. So what is human conflict? Human conflict is what happens when those core needs are not met in a conversation, in a relationship overall. That's what it is. And the good news is as soon as you can learn that and then start to develop a literacy for what the needs are, then you can really start making a difference in how you're relating to people and into the outcomes that you get as you relate to them. And what's coupled with this is a real sensitivity and understanding and literacy of feelings, because it's our feelings that tell us whether our needs are being met or they're not being met. And it's kind of a simple binary system. It's like the red flags go up when I'm feeling pain, painful emotions like hurt, sadness, anger. And that is telling me that some core needs aren't being met. And the green flags go up, the pleasurable feelings like excitement and happiness, when my core needs are being met. So there's a simplicity to this and a complete reliability to it. And it's very heart-centered. It's all about our hearts, our emotional bodies lead the way. They're telling us all the time. Depends, we often don't listen, but they're telling us all the time what we're needing and wanting.
Mm-hmm. And for the individuals that are coming into the holiday seasons, for the Christmas and the New Year's and the even for all of the year, even if individuals are listening to this well after the holidays when it's aired, do you have any certain techniques or some basic skills that individuals can start trying to utilize right now before they meet with the in-laws or they meet with the family members or the cranky aunts or the uncles or whomever could be the friends of the family? Do you have any types of little things that that individuals who are listening to this, who are busy and they want to have a good holiday, they want to enjoy being with their family, but sometimes it's difficult. Do you have anything for them?
Yes, definitely. Um, I will give you a sentence stem to use. This
Okay.
model that I use has 4 steps to it. And I'll list the 4 steps. I'll give you a sentence stem that you can use. And I'm going to give you a guarantee that anytime you use this authentically, and that means that you're really in your truth, and that your intention is to connect with the other person, not to get your action item agenda across on them, not to get them to do behavior modification for you,
Mm.
but really to connect, then this is going to work for you. And so it's the 4 steps are: 1 is observations, the second one is feelings, the third one is needs, like we talked about, the core human needs, and the 4th one is requests. And by the way, this is one of the beautiful pieces of this model. It continually puts you into positive action for meeting your needs in every conversation that you have, that you use this model. And I think that's a core difference between this model, for example, and therapy, to be really in action in every conversation and really in touch with your needs in every conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the steps, OFNR, it kind of sounds like oftener. So that means use this more oftener. Okay.
Yes,
And
I like that.
yes. And so the first step is observation, and that means an observation that is really scrubbed clean of my judgments or my assumptions, that kind of thing. So it's really like what a video camera on the scene may have picked up, except that this has to be kind of a magical video camera that would also pick up like maybe what I would have imagined happened, because sometimes my observation is actually something that I thought happened but didn't happen.
That's
So
true.
yeah. So that's the observation. And the so it's when I saw or when I heard. So this is the sentence. When I saw blank, like when I saw you take the piece of paper. And then you say, I felt. And then that's an emotional feeling, right? It's a feeling. It's not like, again, don't let the judgments creep in. I didn't feel betrayed, because that's not a feeling. Betrayed is what we would call faux feeling. That's an assumption I'm making about your intention. And you can imagine that's people get immediately defensive with that. Yeah. Or into attack mode, even worse than defense mode.
Yes, that's true. It's true. I've bumped into individuals a long time ago in my past where that was the default was defense or offense or attack.
Yes, and it's not uncommon. It's really, we're wired for it, flight or fight, right?
Yes.
We do it if we don't have another mode to go to, that's what we do. And especially when we're in emotional upset, that's all we got. So, and that's why actually I teach this with a step 0, which is to actually calm yourself down. Take a few minutes of mindfulness and breathe first, because we never want to enter a conversation until we've taken emotional care of ourselves. And that's kind of another nuance, but we'll just focus on the 4 steps right now and that sentence. So, right. So now we're at observations and feelings. When I saw you take that piece of paper, I felt afraid, or I felt surprised, right? So we use the feelings that actually did occur. And then you touch into the need, because I need. And notice, I didn't feel surprised or afraid because you are this or that, or because, right? No, I felt afraid because I need, maybe it's reassurance, maybe it's clarity. Like, whoa, I thought that was mine to do, right? Why did you grab it, right? So I needed clarity or support or just deeper understanding, which is kind of like clarity. And then it's the request. Would you be willing to? And then we have 2 forms of request. One is just a connecting request. Would you just be willing to tell me how you feel hearing what I just said? Or would you, or would you be willing to just say back to me what you just understood? So it's kind of like a reflective listening request, right? Or it might be an action request. Would you be willing to put the paper back where you found it until we can finish talking about it? Right. So that's an action request. And notice there's no place in there where I've accused them of something, or brought out some kind of maybe I don't know, like diagnosis that I have on their character or the way they tend to do things. And so this model is, I think of it as a kind of a clean room.
Yes.
When you stick to the model, when you stick to those 4 pieces in a situation of conflict, you're in a very safe territory. And I want to say this, I want to kind of also, one of the things, like I mentioned at the very beginning, this model only works if you use it authentically. And that means that you're wanting to connect with the person. We would call it connecting with what's alive in the other person. And by the way, that step 0, where you're taking care of your own emotional body, is where you're connecting with what's alive in you. And what's alive in this work has a very specific meaning. It means, because what's alive in me at any moment is how I'm feeling about how my needs are being met. So, and the other piece that makes this a clean room is that, well, let me say that Marshall Rosenberg loved the 13th century mystic, or 11th century, I don't remember, 13th, I think, mystic poet Rumi, who said, outside of all ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. And the way you know that you're actually doing nonviolent communication or empathic communication, doing this model, is that you're in that field and you're out of the field where we most often live in because of thousands of years of training in our institutions, or like our governments, our religions, our family structures. The training is more focus on who's right or wrong, who's good or bad here. So we fall into that as a default mode every time. Check yourself. I give you a beautiful invitation to do that. Check yourself next time you're in conflict and see where the energy's going.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And is that one of the mistakes that individuals make when they want to have healthy, peaceful communication, is they fall in that field where it's, blaming or shaming or
Yes.
pointing the fingers and not emotionally taking care of themselves first.
Yeah, we call them habits of disconnection, because they will immediately disconnect you and again bring out the swords and the shields, right? The attacks in the conversation. They're guaranteed to do that. They come with a guarantee.
Yes, I understand that.
Habits of disconnection. And so instead, the four steps are habits of connection and reconnection. And it takes some patience and it takes some practice. And I want to say that a lot of people take workshops and read Rosenberg's book, and that's beautiful to do. It's a wonderful start. But actually having support where you are working on the conversations of your life, the ones that you had yesterday that were upsetting, the ones that you're planning for next week with your boss, when you're actually really working on those with someone who has the expertise to guide the nuances. Because if you may have heard some of them already, but faux feelings, for example, instead of feelings, there's a lot of pitfalls, especially when you're new, that you will fall into. And so I'm really saying that it's been amazing to see the difference of what it takes to just learn about this model, know it exists, versus to actually start applying it in your day every day. And that's from personal experience. I learned it 20 years or more before I actually started the daily application of it. And I loved it, and I got its power right away, and I used it right away. I was a good student in that regard. And I was a stand for it in our community to use this for clearing our conflicts. Yet, it was a really different step to actually start embodying it. And that's another story. But I wanted to invite people to learn more about that. And also, if you are in a place, like especially moving into this holiday, if you're in a place with an important relationship where you are in struggle mode and in pain mode, and that means like on a scale of 1 to 10, that means like with 10 being high pain levels, I'm talking like a 6 or a 7 usually, because that's really what it takes usually for people to say, okay, it's bad enough. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to like jump in there and change my life and transform this relationship. And that's what my programs are based on. It's taking a relationship and actually you're learning the skills. Yes, as you're going, you're learning these 4 steps and getting fluent, but you're at the same time transforming an important relationship in your life. And I offer complimentary sessions because that's not an easy choice to make. And it takes a little, so I have 50-minute sessions where I will sit with you. You'll do a questionnaire first. It's called a breakthrough conversation. And you can just sign up for that on my website. Again, a recommendation is if it's something that's really up for you. And we will look at what's up and what the obstacles are and what you want to create there. And then I'll share more about how I work with people. So my website, my company is Peaceable, and that's Peaceable with no E at the end. So my website is www.peaceable.com, peaceabl.com. That's peaceabl.com. No E at the end of that word. So happy to connect with you. There's also a blueprint of the model that I use on there. You can jump on and get that too if you want. But basically, the big shift happens when you take a relationship and you say, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to transform this. I'm going to drop the disconnection and I'm going to move into clarity, connection, respect, cooperation, um, intimacy, love, warmth. It's all possible. That's the other thing I want to say. So many people, because the emotional pain has been so big, it just seems like this huge entanglement we're never going to get out of. And I just want to tell you, it's not true. People tell me that all the time. There's a lot of myths to this. Number one is that this is something like, oh, well, it's just about being nice so people will like me. And it's not at all about that. You set beautiful, clear boundaries with people in this work. And boundaries that stick, boundaries that they buy into because they get it. They get how it helps them meet their core needs, right? So, and the other thing is that, oh, well, you don't understand the other myth is like, you don't understand my husband. He really is nuts. And I want to tell you, there are very few percent of the population where this won't make a huge difference for you. And there are some mental illnesses where maybe this is not going to get you very far, but you know what? Even in that case, it will get you very far with your own peace of mind and your own emotional self-care. So, yeah, inviting you to jump right in.
Fabulous. So I want to thank you for inviting the audience to jump in. You've got an incredible complimentary session that you're offering at your website, and individuals can get onto your calendar and fill out the questionnaire so that they can discover how this powerful method of communication is going to help them with their family, with their friends, and especially with their employers, so that they can move forward. And if they're an entrepreneur, like most of the individuals, it'll help you communicate very easily with your clients and with those that you serve also. So I want to thank you for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. And
so welcome, Lucy.
Yes, is there any last things that you'd like to say before we say our farewells?
Well, you know what occurred to me when you said that last piece about like being an entrepreneur, being a leader in your company, that's a natural, beautiful, organic thing that grows from this work. Because when you know this model, you've got the roadmap. So that means when other people are in conflict, you can actually guide them to the heart of the matter quickly, confidently, safely, the heart of the matter, how their needs are being met and how they could be met better. So yeah, leadership. It's emotional intelligence leadership at the core. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to offer in your world as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So thank you for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. This has been fantastic. And all of the tips and the strategies and the acronyms that you have given us have really been helpful. So thank you so kindly.
Yeah, you're so welcome, Lucy. I really appreciate you and your show and the way that you embody a real caring about people and an exploration. I love that. Thank you for being you.
Thank you. So I want to thank my audience. You are the reason why I continue to have these top experts on the Wealthy Wednesday show every single week. And I love it when you put your comments. I love it when you subscribe to my channels and get a hold of me on social media. Let me know, what did you think about this episode? Let me know if there's any individuals that you would like to have on the Wealthy Wednesday show. And also share this with your friends, your family, and let us know that you are listening, you're being informed, and these are making a difference in your life. So until next week, abundant blessings.
Are you ready to change your money flow? Would you like to get beyond the six figures that you keep bumping up against? Well, let me tell you, my book, Magical Money Manifestations, is going to help you create money manifestations on autopilot so that you will have more money, more freedom, and more joy in your life. Go to magicalmoneymanifestations.com to find out more information.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Wealthy Wednesday Show. I'm your host, Lucy McMonagle, and I'd really appreciate it if you would share this with your friends, your family, your tribe, and let other people know that the Wealthy Wednesday Show is creating a movement to make this world a better place, and we rely on you to get the word out so that we can create mass influence. So until next time, abundant blessings.